Warm greetings from the NMIMS University Students' Council. We, Ayush Tani and Namrata Brito, are delighted to deliver a new podcast on the topic Use of ChatGPT in the Professional World. The use of this new AI-powered conversational agent in numerous fields is piquing the interest of many. To understand the proper use of this tool in our professional life, we call upon our guest for the session, Mr. Siddhesh Joglekar, to throw some light on the topic. Mr. Siddhesh is the ex-VP Marketing at BYJU, visiting faculty at IIM Calcutta, and CEO at Programming Hub. We're delighted to have you on board with us today, sir.
Indeed, the pleasure is all mine, Ayush. Thank you for inviting me and looking forward to an interactive session here.
Sure. So to start off with the first question, how was your first encounter with using ChatGPT and what did you use it for?
I think, I've been using AI for a long time, at BYJU's as well as in with other engagements that I've done in the recent past. AI has been in utilization for a long time for different aspects. The first encounter with ChatGPT per se was to sort of identify what generational AI hype is all about. And the first question that I asked to ChatGPT was, okay, design me an itinerary on what to do in a 10-day visit to Singapore. That was my first question to ChatGPT. Yeah, and the reason was, we were doing a plan, what to do for 10 days and stuff like that. So that was my first question. But yeah, it was interesting. It was a by chance kind of an encounter, but yeah, the kind of output, etc., was quite mind blowing.
So you did find the perfect answer that you were looking for with all details.
Not in the first go. I think the way in which you interact with a generative AI setup is much different from a search engine, is my view. And whether it is ChatGPT or Bard or any other system that might come in future, we will have to interact with it as if it's a team member of our own, or as if it's a teammate that you work with. Yeah, something like that. But a teammate which has huge piles of information, something like that. We'll have to figure out. I think it's still early days, but a lot of us are understanding that certainly ChatGPT cannot be dealt with the way in which you deal with search engines.
Got it. So the inputs are different, and the way you talk to it is very different, like a person sort of.
Absolutely, it's a much different. So, for example, if you give ChatGPT the same question, design a 10-day itinerary for Singapore, then it will probably give a generic itinerary. But then if you tell ChatGPT that, hey, design an itinerary for Singapore such that I am staying at X location in Singapore, then I am going there with a family of 4. One of the person is an infant. Then I prefer vegetarian food near my hotel. If you give all these kind of inputs to ChatGPT, then ChatGPT gives me a very much better output suited to my personal inputs, and that is what we have to learn about ChatGPT a lot more. How do I get the best out of AI?
Got it. Moving on to the next question. What are some ways individuals can use ChatGPT to streamline their work processes and increase productivity?
I think it's a great question. I'm seeing ChatGPT being utilized in my workspace in very creative ways. For example, every email that we send professionally, for example, for my current organization, Programming Hub, let's say, has to have different kind of image as a different kind of images as a staple to make the image interact, to make the email interactive, make the email visual. Those images can today be generated from tools like DALL-E 2, from Midjourney and stuff like that. I think that is a straight application where you give a text-based prompt and out comes an image, which is beautiful. Another way in which we are utilizing ChatGPT is for something informational. For example, I want to draft an email, or I want to ensure that the email is much better worded. That is working very, very well. Another place where my tech team is utilizing ChatGPT very well is to get code from translated from language A to language B.
Hmm.
For example, someone is very good at Python,
Mhm.
but the app but all mobile apps are, for example, in Java.
Mhm.
So you can literally translate that snippet of code from Python to Java within no time, and it's error free. I think that these kind of applications are where I just give you three examples, but these are the places where ChatGPT is accelerating work.
That last example I did not really know about. That is actually very interesting. I did
Yeah,
not know to do that.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah. No, I think that's a wonderful application, and not only that, um, yesterday was Mother's Day,
Hmm.
so I asked ChatGPT for a poem in Marathi,
Hmm.
which is my mother tongue, for my Mother's Day. Uh, so it gave the this thing. So ChatGPT is not just limited to English. That's the wonderful thing. It's also about our regional languages. You can get quotes in English, for example. It also combines languages. So all these are very versatile capabilities that I am seeing from ChatGPT.
So much knowledge at our disposal, we can save a lot of time with our lives.
Absolutely, absolutely.
What are some of the most useful applications of ChatGPT you've come across for professionals in different industries? And how can these be leveraged effectively?
And that's a great question. So, for example, um, we want to send push notifications in 50 countries. 50 countries, 50.
Okay.
Normally it used to be a 2-week pipeline wherein we create the content, then we get it translated, we get it vetted, we verify the content and all of that, using Google Translate and whatever different tools. Today, all of that is automated.
Got it.
So translation as a piece, verification
Mhm.
is delivery. It is AI is delivering at a 80 to 85% accuracy, which is pretty high. Yeah. That is one place. Another place where chat gpt is getting integrated in, I think, in coding verification. And an expert programmer can deliver, I think, 30 to 40% higher output already
Mhm.
using chat gpt, as they are
Mhm.
the error rate. For example, one of the most tedious aspects of programming, if the programmers will, I'm sure, know, is to comment the code such that someone else is able to read the code.
Mhm.
Now, by putting the same code in Chat GPT, you can ask the AI to interpret the code, and AI will do it. So that is wonderful. For some, suppose I get a handover of a code from someone else. Today, my onboarding time to understand the code is much better. So that is another very interesting application, particularly in marketing. I'm seeing the this piece getting applied very well to create CTAs, call to actions. For example, I want to have an appropriate call to action for an email,
Mhm.
which is about a newsletter, compared to an email that is a straight call to action, compared to an email that is a reminder to complete your order. I'm getting very good options for CTAs from AI. So yeah, these were the three that came immediately to mind.
Do you think if every employee is very effective and more productive with ChatGPT, this can also lead to job losses in the near future?
I think ChatGPT works very well for small teams for sure.
Mhm.
Job losses, now see, it is about how you are looking at things.
Mhm.
Typically, what will it lead? Is it becoming a threat? Probably for the very entry level jobs, probably yes. For example, if I were in NMIMS, or I'm in IMC, I would certainly want to train myself on all these tools such that I become productive faster. I think that's the play, but I don't think it has still come to that level where it will lead to job losses. The reason being that I still I still cannot depend on AI
Mhm.
as a manager.
Mhm.
That, hey, can I completely depend on AI to deliver great output with the ownership? You know, with respect to jobs, it is not just about doing work; it is also about owning the work and owning the outcomes.
Mm.
I don't think things have gone to that level yet. But yes, I mean, looking at the pace at which all of these things are developing, just just 3 days back, Google did a Google I/O, and Bard has also come up with some very interesting outputs. So I mean, where this will go is a separate thing. But right now, at least, I am not thinking that this will lead to job losses.
Mm.
But let's see. But yeah, research and all of that, there is possibility that the ChatGPT can deliver output which is acceptable, not excellent, but still acceptable.
Because any output that we do get from ChatGPT is good enough, but we always need to edit it in some way or the other. We need to tailor it to ourselves before we can send it out or use it.
No, absolutely. So, for example, I was teaching. I tried to teach my 8-year-old some science concept
Mm.
using ChatGPT. It gave good insight, but ChatGPT is still not an excellent teacher. For example, I still need to explain the child in her language.
Mm.
I tried to tell her, okay, explain photosynthesis the way Spider-Man can.
Mm.
ChatGPT made a valiant attempt, but I don't think the 8-year-old understood what photosynthesis is. So
Got it.
there is still a long way to go, but the very fact that generative AI is even attempting these problems
Mm.
was unthinkable 6 months back. So
That's
it's interesting and exciting times.
okay. That's insightful. So, Namrata will be continuing with the rest of the session.
Yes. So, sir, your next question is, how, according to you, can ChatGPT help individuals to stay up to date with the latest industry trends and developments? And what are some tools and resources that can facilitate this?
It's a great question. So I'll tell you how ChatGPT is helping me. Yeah. So I'll give a very practical example. Now, I wanted to find out time taken to reach Dadar from Malad and Seawoods. Typically, I would have to do at least 4 to 5 Google searches, and it would take me 3 to 4 minutes of time. Now, if I ask the same question to ChatGPT will save those minutes of time. So essentially, complex searches wherein I am asking for 3 to 4 search results ka combined output together. I think ChatGPT will save your time. So one application, as you are talking about, is to save time, and especially for complex queries. For example, I want to know what is the best way to reach from Mumbai to Ahmedabad if I'm leaving at so and so time. ChatGPT will give a much more comprehensive answer compared to a regular Google search, is my view. Another thing that where ChatGPT can actually help is for enhancing anything that you have written, or for augmenting things with latest updates or something like that. For example, I was writing something as a blog post for my personal blog. I then just searched for it, and I got some 3-4 points which I had not covered. So, for example, I was writing about how Grit book. There's a book called Grit by Angela Duckworth, and what are the 4 lessons that I learned from Grit. I wrote it in my way, but ChatGPT gave me a completely different perspective on what people have learned from Grit. So that makes what I am writing much more refined, because ChatGPT can give that kind of a perspective, because it is crawling millions of reviews from Amazon and all that. Another large improvement that I'm seeing is summarization. Imagine a humongous amount of data. I want to summarize reviews on Guardians of the Galaxy reviews. Guardians of the Galaxy is a movie that was released some days back. So I want to summarize that. These are things that ChatGPT can do much better than a human. I would probably look at two, three pages, and that's it. I would form my opinion about a film based on those first 2-3 reviews. But ChatGPT can give me a much more holistic picture. So these are things that I'm seeing tremendous applications on. And yeah, that works. Now similarly, this can be then extended to other forms of professional work. For example, a, from a legal team can summarize a particular case which they wanted to read, and if the verdict is a 500-page verdict, Ayodhya verdicts, let's say, if the verdict is a humongous verdict can be summarized in whatever levels using ChatGPT. So these are tremendously exciting applications for me.
That's true, sir. Moving on, what are some of the potential risks and drawbacks of using ChatGPT in a professional context, in your opinion, and how can individuals mitigate these risks?
Yeah, I think one of the whole points is the ownership aspect, which I already touched about. Now imagine people now people might take ChatGPT to any other level. Now if you start asking for medical prescriptions to ChatGPT, I think that's risky, because ChatGPT will not be having your personal medical history and all of those things, right? So I think that's risky. Um, Again, ChatGPT in hands of children might be risky. Yeah. Um, Again, another thing is ChatGPT also can be personalized. You can ask ChatGPT to act as someone, and that is, again, right now I think ChatGPT is using content filters and all of that, but people who are sort of hackers in nature by mindset, not hackers in terms of technical ability, will find ways to use ChatGPT in the wrong manner. So I think that is the risk. But at the same time, I feel with respect to any such newly developing technology, there will be good uses and there will be bad uses. But just because a technology can be used in a bad manner doesn't mean that you stop developing technology, is my view. You'll have to have a have good actors getting exposed to technology and creating really useful things for society.
Yes, sir, that's true. Everything has its pro and con, and we have to go with the best side of it. Right.
Indeed.
Yes. So moving on, what are some of the emerging trends and applications of ChatGPT in the professional world? And how can individuals prepare themselves to take advantages of these opportunities?
I think that's a great thing. I know I've given enough examples of professional applications, auto summarization, planning, you know, uh, writing mundane emails and all of that. That these are some examples of applications. How can individuals prepare themselves? That's an interesting question. I think that for that you need to start getting into a tinkering mode. You have to be ready to tinker around with this new technology. We also learned Google search over years. Yeah, back in 1990s or early 2000s, even Google search was new for us. Yeah, back then there was a site called yahoo.com, and we used to, yahoo.com somehow had Google search engine. That was my first exposure to Google, and I was back then in engineering. Yeah, and we also learned it the hard way, that back then there was a GOOO which represented pages. That's how we learned Google as well. So you have to be ready to tinker around. You have to be ready to ask questions, learn what can be done, and then start moving into the professional sphere. For example, within EdTech, can I use ChatGPT for translations which are valid for my app? Probably not. But translations which are good enough for auto captions, maybe. Maybe with verification. Yeah. But wherever you can see a clear application, you should start tinkering around. Maybe use a combination of tools. For example, earlier if you were using Google Translate or Google Translate and something else, now you try an AI as a third tool. But that is how I'm seeing ChatGPT being used in the professional world right now. But in fact, I would say the limits of ChatGPT would be pushed higher by your batchmates. So I should be learning the reverse from you guys. You should tell me how you are using ChatGPT to create undetectable assignments. I would be very curious to learn that as well.
So basically, we do use, all of us do use. I had learned this hack from Instagram that if
Sure.
you copy an assignment, put it on from ChatGPT and take it, and then you put it back on ChatGPT and ask, "Hey ChatGPT, have you returned this assignment?" It will tell you yes or a no. So in that, you will have to kind of paraphrase what you have written, and
Correct.
then you can get yourself saved by your teachers.
My goodness. Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure creative utilities will come in.
Yes, sir. Okay, so this is the present scenario. What do you think is the future with people using ChatGPT in their professional lives? What could be the next big thing?
I think Sundar Pichai did a fantastic presentation. I recommend all of you to see it, the viewers of this podcast. But I think ChatGPT will get used to automate mundane tasks. For example, I want to do a flight booking. That day is not far where AI will start recommending and perhaps even auto book flights. Things that were unheard of. Yeah. Uh, what else? I think over the next 3 to 4 months, I think AI will also develop. But I think governments will also become much more capable of handling extreme situations around AI as well. Because I'm seeing a lot of government interest in learning what ChatGPT is all about. Yeah, and not only American government, maybe even in governments in India are doing this at a fantastic pace. I'm seeing officials, all of them learning ChatGPT. Tremendous interest in live classes that are happening related to ChatGPT. So yeah, I'm seeing some very interesting applications. But yeah, I'm another place where place where AI will enter is content generation. How far is it where scripts will come from AI, movie scripts? Maybe 3 to 6 months. You give AI all the prompts that okay, these are my characters, these are my situations, these are my scene numbers. Write long prompts, and perhaps AI may come up with a movie script.
Yes, so that was a big thing. Okay,
No,
so
but this is still three to
unexpected,
six
but
months away. See, I still think a movie script has to be exciting enough. Now, whether AI will write that content in that manner or not is something that remains to be seen. But these are places where generative AI can be applied.
true. Yes, very true. So yeah, it does save a lot of time and effort for people, and things get going faster in this fast world.
But I don't know whether time will be saved or not. See, at the end of the day, a movie script does not become a movie script just like that. Also has to be good enough for someone to put in their time and effort and hard-earned money to shoot it, right? So now that is whether it will really be of that quality or not, and whether you'll be ready to risk your monies to shoot with an AI generated script. That's a completely different matter. But theoretically, movie scripts can be generated from ChatGPT, and that itself is a big one.
Thank you, sir. You've opened a lot of gateways for us to understand where we can apply ChatGPT. So we have come to the end of the session. Thank you, sir, for this very informative session. On behalf of the NUSC team, Ayush and I would like to sincerely thank you for taking the time to share your expertise with us today. Your ideas and insights have given us much to think about and reflect on, and we are confident that we will be able to apply these learnings in our professional lives. We thank the NUSC chairperson, Dr. Christine Dilema, and the university authorities for their continuing support and encouragement. We truly appreciate your contribution to this podcast and look forward to the possibility of working with you in the future again. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the invitation. And I request all of you to try out ChatGPT. And I would be very keen to know how teachers are using ChatGPT, for example. Are they using ChatGPT to create insanely tough questions, for example? That might be something of very high interest to me. I am a teacher. I am a faculty myself at IIM. So would love to learn would love to integrate, would love to learn how you guys are using ChatGPT. So if you are able to have a comment section, I would love to read the comments. So yeah, thank you so much for invitation again.
Definitely, sir. We'll collect and we'll pass it on to you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.